Hello, and welcome everyone. Come on in and say hello where you are from and let us know how you're doing today. Today we've just arrived, it's 10 o'clock. We're going to do our Wednesday class. We've got James first in from Gloucestershire. We've got Sarah Barbanson on the chat. So if you want to put anything in on the chat, any questions you want highlighted, Sarah's there. She's one of our fantastic new third-year students in Norwich. We've got Titus from Cumbria, hello, and Carolyn in Scotland, James in Somerset, hello everyone. I'll stop calling out your names and where you're from. So, you've got me again, obviously, otherwise I'd be someone else. We're carrying on with the theme of the metal element. We've got another great point of the week, a fantastic point of the week for the lungs, but it's just fantastic all round. We'll come to that in a bit. We are going to do the class a little bit differently from normal. So I'll just show you a slide to begin with. Oh, we love our slides here. Okay, there we go. So you may have remembered we've been going through different vibrational levels. So we started off early on just saying, here's the metal element. Then we're like, okay, let's tune in more on the physical, then tune in more on the emotional, then tune in more on the mental level. Today, we're going to be focusing more on the spiritual aspect of the metal element, which is the Po. In Chinese, Po is, so here we've written it as materialization of soul. That can make it sound like the soul coming into being. And in a sense, that's true. I'll drop the slide again. The material aspect of the soul, which sounds strange because we tend to want to like separate out the material and the soul or immaterial aspect. But really what we've got here in the Chinese medicine is this Po, which is like the only aspect of soul that is so intrinsically materially combined that what you have is a part of the soul that does actually die off. When we come to the end of our physical life, the personality that we've been and the physical body that we've been, they die off. And it is the Po that allows this to happen. And then the rest that is more eternal can go off and wend its merry way in its different ways that it does. We won't go into that so much now because I don't want to waste your time too much. And there's more debate about how that works anyway. So, but this is an aspect that really gets that mortality. And we're going to just see if we can contact some of that quality. So being inhabited in a body, that's what the Po is about. And we will play with that today. So in the sense that I said, things are going to be a bit different today. I'm not going to get really any polls happening. We're not going to be doing the 3 burners. We are going to start with a scan though. And before we do that, I'd like us all to start as a nice group circle. So I've done lots of waffling already, hopefully not too much more, but let's just bring our attention inside. You can close your eyes for a second, move away from the keyboard. Have a sense of yourself there. Now have a sense of a circle of people. You are in a lovely big circle of people. We're just sharing this space, and this is all of the class who is appreciating this class and this group, this setting, whether it is live in this moment or whether it is later watching it back, just being this group setting. Okay, thank you so much everyone for being here. You can open your eyes again. So I like to start off and end the classes this way because it gives the group energy a bit of cohesion. So with this cohesive energy, let us stand up. Okay. We're going to do a scan as usual. And so we're going to do the scan like this. And then if you've got pen and paper, I'd like us to make a little image, note, something of that, because that's going to be really useful going through the session. And hopefully we'll have time at the end and we'll scan in again to see what it's like. But you know me, timing is not always my forte, so maybe we won't have time for it. We'll see. Maybe we will. So bringing your attention to the top of your body, and in fact, come just away from the crown of your head into the space above your head. So just be aware of the space above your head. Maybe just have a sense of the space even as far as 1 to 2 feet above your head. We're going to start there. It's very, very more etheric quality, more immaterial quality. Scanning down until you reach the crown of the head, and then scanning down through the head, still keeping a little bit of an awareness outside of the body as well as inside of the body. So how is the head, the sides, the front, the back of the head, the face, scanning through? How's your jaw? And into the neck. How about the back of the neck and the sides of the neck, the throat? Scanning through now to the shoulders, out across the tops of the shoulders and the shoulder girdle to the shoulder joint. How is the head, neck and shoulders? And then let's scan down the arms. So scanning down from the shoulder joint through the upper arms, the humerus bone, deltoid muscle, triceps, biceps, through to the elbows, elbow joints, if you need to move them to check them. Noticing any areas that pick up as we go through the forearms, the wrists. Is your attention drawn anywhere through the hands and fingers? And then the whole of the arms and hands together as one piece. All of the arms, shoulders and hands. Okay. And then from here we're going to go into the upper chest, upper back, scanning down. Again, where catches your attention and in what way? What's it like in the chest, the rib cage, the abdomen now, spine, sides, belly, and inside? How is it in there today? This is your center in so many ways. And now through the pelvic girdle, through the pelvis, hips, hip joints, large muscles of the buttocks, into the thighs, longest bones in the body, all the way through the upper leg to the knee joints. Focus on your knee joints. How's that today? And then scan through the lower leg, calf muscle, shin bones, all the way down to the ankles, feet, toes. You can wiggle your toes to see how they're doing. Okay. Now let's just get a whole sense of your whole body. There you are. More of a whole picture. And if you were going to draw that or write notes about that, what would you put down? And then let's just come to do that. Let's just bring a little bit of attention back out. I've got some paper and pen this time. Okay, so for me, for some reason, that's what I've got today. Belly feeling a bit full, shoulders and neck a bit tense, a bit of a cloud around the top. So what's anything? Loretta, sorry you can't stay with us. But maybe you'll come through with the replay as you say. And if anything ever gets difficult, Sarah will let you know if there's a way through to come back online with us. So hopefully you've made a little note about that. Hopefully you've got a little bit of a sense of any areas going on. Remember that, because that's going to be useful. But as this is the time of the lungs, the first thing we're going to do is breathe and get a sense of space. Okay, so where were you drawn to in your body when you were scanning? Now, you may have more than one area, and you're welcome to try to start with both areas at the same time, or just pick one of them, because we only need to start somewhere, that's all. So my main one was in the shoulders and in the belly. So I'm going to allow both of these to be my point of focus. But for you, start where you are, and if there's like nowhere in particular you're not sure, just start in where your breath is in your body. Okay, so I want you to breathe into that space where your attention was drawn to in your body. So taking a couple of nice breaths in, breathing into it, not doing anything with it, just breathing in and breathing out. Okay. Make a bit of a sigh about it, maybe. So if it's feeling a bit weaker, you can breathe in strongly to build it up. If it's stuck and you want it moving, short breath in and then a long breath out to release. It can be a little bit of movement as well if you need it. Okay, now just breathing space into the area. Just breathing into the area, bringing space into it. And then let that expand into more of the body. More of your body feeling that spaciousness and that breath. And again. And maybe take the breath into the whole of the body. Imagine the breath filling the whole of the body like a human-shaped balloon. And again. One more time, really getting into that sense of filling the whole space of yourself. Let the breath be as easy or as strong as you need. We're not wanting to make it uncomfortable. Now broaden the space out to the room around you, breathing into the space around you. And then we're going to let that open out a bit more, really fill so much of the space around you, around yourselves. Maybe you can enlarge that to the whole of the building or the whole of the sort of space in which you are standing in, much larger. Encapsulate the entire building. Let it branch out even larger to the land that you are on. See much more of the land around you. As you keep breathing, let it expand more. So If you're in a town, you're looking over more of the whole town. If you're in the countryside, you're looking more over the landscape of the countryside. And then expand it out more across the whole of the county or land mass. Allow that sense of space to be broadened to almost the entire country that you're in. Much more of the land. Drawing in from that space, breathing out into that space. Still keeping your feet relaxed, relaxing your lower sense of self to stay grounded. See if you can expand out even further. The whole of an aspect of this part of the world that you are in. We're going to expand out to see if you can really encompass more of the entire planet. Try to expand to a sense of seeing the planet within the space that you envelop. Breathe in all of that beauty, that space. Breathing out into that space. Now in this celestial galactic spaciousness, really beautifully expansive, just resting in this more open space, not having to go any further, just resting here, being able to see the planet with all of its movements and qualities. The spaciousness of the cosmos, and yet at the same time, breath moving into a little body. At the same time as being in this galactic spaciousness. And it may be tricky holding those two images together. So let's just start bringing that back in now. Bringing the breath back in with the sense of scale down to part of the planet. Relaxing as you breathe out, breathing out and sinking back in a bit more to the landscape that you are in. Breathing in. Allowing that quality to come inside of you and relax as you breathe out. And let that get a bit smaller to just the part of town or the part of the countryside you're in. Breathing in, relaxing. And letting it sink further in. You're just in the building or the space that you're in. Breathing in. And relaxing, more into just the room that you're in. Feeling the space around your body, breathing in. Coming back to the actual framework and structure of the body, the material body. And just have another breath in, feeling that fill up from all of that quality that you've had before. Okay. Ooh, and when you're ready, just have a little bit of a shake off. Oh, and you can bring your attention back out. Hopefully you're not too sort of spun out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to exercise our feet a little bit and open our legs out to ground us back down after that. So bring your weight over one side. Turn your toe out and stretch out the bottom of your foot. Come back. And if you can, come over and stretch the top of your foot. If you can't do that, put it behind you and just find the top of your foot stretching. So if you do it in front of you, great. If not, do it behind you. And then bottom of the foot again. Okay. And do a few circles. Opening out the feet, really getting a sense of the space between the bones, space between all the muscles and fascia and the tendons, just moving around, finding that openness again. You go in the other direction. Lovely, 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 lovely. And then if you need to lean against something, shaking off, loosening the foot and into the lower leg. Okay, lay that back down. Stand centrally and just notice the difference between the two. Okay, come over this side. Stretching out the underside by pressing the ball of the foot to the ground and coming over it a bit. Come back. Again, if you can do over in front of you, great. And if not, put it behind you and just see if you can get a little stretch from the top of the foot. Then I'm going to go ball of the foot again. Okay, and then start doing some circles, nice and easy to begin with. Pardon me, it's getting my digestion going. Really feeling that openness, like that beautiful spaciousness we've got to, and then bringing all of that spaciousness into the foot. In the other direction, all those bones, kind of finding their spaciousness around each other, all the fascia and the muscles and the skin, everything of the foot. Okay, with a bit of a shake into the lower leg. And okay. And we'll just do a little bit of the great kidney 1 point, bubbling spring, Yong Chuan. So I'm not going to get the chair. I'm just going to go straight into this. So lift my foot up. As you can see from you've got the ball of the foot there, and just underneath in the soft pad in the middle, 1/3 of the way down. Yeah. And we can just really scrunch into that area. And if you find it hard to reach, well, obviously the best thing is getting someone else to massage it for you, or getting a ball on the ground or the corner of something and working that area of your foot around it. So really helping to open it up, find that kind of sweet discomfort. It's like, oh, it's kind of painful, but it's kind of like easing and moving and opening at the same time. And then you can move that into the rest of the foot. And you've got the top of the foot. You can kind of press in your toes. Okay, give it a bit of a... Notice the difference between the 2 feet. So nice doing this kidney point. So then we're going to go into the other foot, same place, kidney 1, bubbling spring. It is at the most yin point in the body, and it's like where the yin energy and the earth energies bubble up into your body. You can find any tension points you've got in your feet. Oh, there's one. And just help it to soften and open. Okay, and the rest of the foot, wiggle the toes, give it a tap. Lovely. Okay. Notice how that feels on the ground. Notice how that feels through the legs. Lovely, 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 lovely. Okay, now I want us to go back to the area where we first tuned into that had some kind of discomfort or some kind of quality that was catching your attention when we scanned through. So for me, like I said, neck and shoulders, a little bit of the belly. So if I tune into these areas now, I notice that the belly is not quite as it was. It's like the energy's already started to move. Shoulders, Still a little bit discomfort. So you tune into yours, find what it's like, has it changed at all? And we're going to start there with some movement, because part of the quality of the metal element is the structure of our bodies, as well as the structure of our life. So some kind of tension in the body, there's going to be structural tension in our life in some way, the framework of how we see our life. So I'm going to start moving from this point. And what I want you to do is move it in a way that feels right, you could say. To use a term that's more to do with the metal element, what is of value? What is more of value for this area? Not just any old thing. I mean, we can just like jibble it around a bit, you know, no. But actually go, oh, hang on. Okay, just let it move in the way that it needs to. Ooh, crunch, crunch. And maybe it's like just general random sort of movements, or maybe it's more expressive with some kind of emotion. So what's here for me? It's more of a sort of protective and slightly frustrated kind of kind of a movement. So I could work with that and see if there's an expression around it. The other quality is maybe you have time-worn classics. So there's a particular stretch that you can do. You know, oh, here's a stretch. And it starts to open out something. You know, there's a well-known stretch that you may really appreciate. Just go with what's right or what feels valuable. Don't forget you've got things like tapping. You've got making sound. Movement can change. You've got gentle massage or working points that you already know. This is all a sort of because it's so natural to you and to what's inside, this is more like what comes from a quality in Chinese practice called Daoyin, which is where we get the term Douyin in Japanese, which is where we're tapping the channels. But there's various other things that can go with it. Okay, finding that movement that you're in at the moment to start settling and moving into more of a whole body movement or a whole body sort of bouncing. So it's all becoming fairly uniform throughout the whole body. Sharing that movement and relaxation. So all the cells in the body, the whole structure can feel that value and that space. And let that come to a close in its own time. Okay, fantastic. You've had a bit of a shake-off. Okay, where are we? Let's look at the point of the week, because we're already halfway through. So, here we go. Fantastic. How's everyone doing so far? This is a little bit different to the usual run of things. So like I was saying before, we've gone through the 4 sort of typical vibrational levels that we tend to work with. Fantastic. Oh, it's nice to hear you saying that you're getting on with it well. everyone. Kim, better, thank you, and Carolyn, fab. So the materialization, or the material aspect of the soul, is in the spiritual level, the Po. It's to do with the upper burner, as usual. And so much of this breathing stuff is because we draw Qi, or Qi, in from the air around us. And that's called the heavens Qi, pure Qi. And we draw that in, and because the lungs are said to be on top, they descend and disperse a lot of the Qi, and the fluids that have accumulated coming upwards from all the rest of the other organs. It helps to form the great Zhong Qi, or the Qi of the chest, that is merged with the heart, and therefore also the blood. And the Qi and the blood are very closely linked. The blood is said to move because of the Qi, and the Qi is able to move in the body and stay in the body because it moves with the blood, or it moves in the blood. So they're said to be very closely linked in that way, and we'll come back to that in a bit. Oh, beautiful, Agnieszka. You've said fantastic, so much spaciousness, a beautiful lightness. That's fantastic. Really, really wonderful. So also the lung Qi connects down to the kidneys, which we did a little bit of the other day. We've done lung 1, large intestine 4, large intestine 20, lung 2, lung 5, so many points that you've already done. And today, lung 9, Tai Yuan, great abyss, or supreme abyss, as some people write it. Now, I'm going to read here a description of the name Tai Yuan, great abyss. The name refers to the Qi, which dives deeply into the interior, like a waterfall. This image perhaps also refers to the area just away from this point, where the pulse disappears as the course of the artery runs internally. So you'll notice where that point is on the picture of the hand there. That's where people often test for a pulse. And so you do have a point. If you run, let me get it like that. If you run up underneath the thumb with your fingers, you'll be able to feel the pulse at a certain point. And then you come up a bit further and you find this sort of softer spot just underneath the thumb. And it's like between some of the bones, and there's less of the pulse there to feel. And another way to find it, let me just drop this down a second, is if you remember heart 7, which you've got this little bone that sticks out on the lower side of the little finger, it sticks down lower than all the others. It's called the pisiform bone. So just underneath that bone, you've got that soft spot next to a tendon at exactly the same level, but underneath the thumb. And you'll feel like a tendon and a bone, and you're kind of just in the squidgy gap, the abyss between the two. Okay, so that's lung 7. Okay, let me bring the slide back up again so we can have a little look at some of that. So it's said to tonify, strengthen, rebuild the Qi of the lungs and the yin. So it has this deep aspect to it, because yin is much more of a deeper internal quality within us. It can help with cough, with asthma, with sore throats. And a lot of that come from heat in the upper burner and the upper body. Too much energy up here, too much heat up here, phlegm in the chest and in the lungs. And so this point is great for clearing that phlegm, clearing that heat, clearing that dryness, and re-moistening the lungs. The lungs always want that moisture, which is why going to a steam room is really great. Even though it has heat in it, the steam that comes from it is fantastic for the lungs and can help to loosen phlegm. Now, that's not always the case. So it's not always just like, got a bit of phlegm, hit the spa, but it can be useful. But this point is particularly useful for all of these things. So it gets into the yin, which cools things down and re-moistens the lungs as it's needed. And it descends and disperses that excess heat, energy, and fluids. Okay, the other quality is grief. Did I say lung 7? I'm sorry, it's because we had lung 7 written up somewhere. It's lung 9. It is lung 9. So we had a bit of a confusion as to which number was written up for us to work with today. So I beg your pardon. It is lung 9 that we're working with. Heart 7, lung 9. Same level. So part of the quality that we were getting in touch with was that material aspect of the soul, where it can be expanded out as far as you like, but it is intrinsically linked with being in a physical body, and therefore being what's the word? When you are able to die, you are mortal. That's the one. It's intrinsically linked with mortality and our ability to feel that. So when we feel the loss of something, the space where something or someone was, then we can recognize the value and the beauty of them because it's no longer there, and we feel that within the body, within the soul, because of this material aspect of the soul that will end, it will die off. There is so much of us that won't, that will transition and change and become something else, someone else. But the part that does die off recognizes that so hard that it suddenly goes, oh, there is such beauty and value and worth in being here. And that's how we can feel grief and sadness. And it can be so personal and so strong when it does come, but it holds such a key to recognizing that beauty and that element of life, which is just so worth it. So really lovely. What time are we at? Okay, so there's so much I want to share with you all. We are going to find this lung point. Agnieszka, you've already said, yes, Jane, the opposite of taking something for granted because it's always there. It really is. And sometimes it does take us losing a bit of something before we recognize it. It's a famous song, you never know what you got till it's gone. But sometimes we do, sometimes we can, and it's through getting in touch with this quality in ourselves that we can recognize it. And I'm going to get us to do a meditation in a minute that will get us in touch with a sense of life and of death in some way, and to help us merge together with those two, with the breath. But for the moment, that's it. We're connecting in with lung 7, and you can do this way round. I'll try and show you, so you can just be relaxing your arm down and have the thumb on. And just notice how it's feeling on one side. Is it more like in the local area? Are you feeling the channel? Is it moving into the chest, or is it not so much a single solo physical area, or is it more a quality? So just getting into that. Okay. So James, you're saying it's very tender on the left. Heart and lung yin. Yeah, you very much can have that quality. And I recognize that as well. I get a sense of it coming into the chest, and both the lungs and the heart very much getting a kind of a feeling, a tenderness. I know what you mean with that. So I'm going to get us to, first of all, we're going to do a little meditation now with a bit of breath work. But I'd like us to hold lung 7 whilst we do it, but both lung 7s at the same time. So can you see, I've done that with my middle finger, right? So Here's one side. I'm bringing my middle finger to lung 7, and I'm using my middle finger of the other side to go to the other lung 7. You see that? So if you can just do that, and it's just going to be like your hands are in this sort of a position, but the middle fingers are on lung 7. Oh, keep saying it, don't I? I'm really sorry. Lung 9. I am so sorry. We are connecting to lung 9. I do apologize, everyone. So the point is lung 9 underneath. Yeah, maybe everyone will remember it now. It is lung 9, Taiyuan. So holding both points together, let your hands just rest in your lap or just in front of your hara, and just settle your attention inwards. So move away from the keyboard now. Pardon me, my digestion always gets going when I get into alignment. So with your eyes closed, your mind relaxed inwards, middle fingers on lung 9 underneath the thumb. Just letting yourself settle for a moment. Okay. So just letting the breath rolling in and rolling out. Just noticing the breath coming in. Notice the space in between, and then let the breath rolling out. And then notice the space in between the out breath and the in breath. And again, breathing in. And I'm just going to let you breathe in your own speed, but allow there to be a little pause between breaths. Not forcing it, but just noticing that point. And the breath out just releases for a moment, and then it becomes the breath in. It merges to the breath in. Not forcing a pause, not forcing a stop, just noticing that space where it tips over. And as you breathe in, get a sense of that Qi with the air as it breathes in, that heaven's Qi, heaven's Qi, energy filling you up with the breath in. And as you're breathing out, let it go of what you don't need. Notice that space in between. And out. Okay, and now as you breathe in, I want you to get a sense of life breath coming in. Feel that life breath, feel the space between, and then feel that releasing the breath you don't need anymore. It's like the breath that doesn't serve life anymore. Space in between. And as you breathe in that life breath, the life within the body gets nourished. There's vitality of life within the structure of this body. So as you're breathing in, feeling that vitality of Qi, noticing the space in between the in-breath and out-breath, the out-breath and in-breath. And as with any yin comes its yang, or with a yang comes its yin. So as we're breathing in the vitality of life, and you get to that point in between the breath, notice that space where life would move to something else. That would be death, an ending, an expiry, expire, to breathe out. The end of that expiration, that space in between. Breathing in, the vitality of life, pause, the relinquishing of life, the allowing of death, of breathing out, expire. and let it merge in that space to breathing in. And merge in that space to then breathing out, letting go, allowing death. That space in between to then merge to breath in and life. And then where does life merge with death in that space? And breathing out. That transition point, that merging of both together. And then it's breathing in the life. And again, that space in between where life merges to death. It's one and the same, but breathing out now. It's okay to expire. Then there's the space in between. And the space in between. Notice the space more now where it's merging together. So one might be happening. Is it breathing in or breathing out? Doesn't matter. Focus more on the space in between to allow that spaciousness where both life and death merge together, dancing together. And it allows the beauty of one and the other. One's own life, breathing in, being inspired, being vitalized. Merging, and then at the same time, one's own life releasing, moving ever closer to death, and that's okay. And then where it merges between. And we're going to finish up in the next couple of breaths. Enjoy the space between breaths. And the last one, just breathing in that vitality nice and strongly. And allowing that which is no longer helping us and our bodies to release and die off. And when you're ready, let go of the points of the hands. Give the hands a bit of a shake out. And you can start to open up your eyes. Okay. Thank you very much for joining in with that. I would love to hear from you when you are ready. Take a moment to respond, if you'd like to, in the chat with anything that came up or anything that you didn't appreciate about it. Anything you did appreciate, anything you didn't appreciate. And it's all interesting and it's all fair. I was going to read one more thing, wasn't I? Oh, about lung 9. I managed to get the point number right this time. Lung 9 allows for that connection of the blood to move more freely because it's where the Qi moves most strongly. And this is really important if we're feeling very kind of like lackluster and sluggish and like things are kind of becoming a bit slumpy inside and like the blood's not moving very freely or easily. Maybe we're getting cold in the externals of our limbs easily. This brings more Qi to the blood flow and can help it to stimulate it out. That brings more of a sense of life to the body as well. Okay, where are we at now? So Susie says, very powerful. I had to hold them very gently at first and tears flowed immediately on the left side. Beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Kim, at the summit of inhale, there is perfect yang. Enjoyed for a second. At the depth of exhale is perfect yin. and a second to enjoy. Fantastic. Agnieszka, huge smile on my face after that meditation. So thank you. Really, really lovely to hear everyone's responses. It can be very simple and actually quite nice and joyful. And it can also be incredibly deep and incredibly poignant for where we're at in ourselves. So it's a nice one to play with. I urge you to find time to make space between breaths for life and death. We've got someone else saying, Vicky, my chi was sluggish and cold and now much better flow. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's line 9 all over. And wrist on the right, felt sure, but overall feel free. Thank you, Jackie. This is lovely stuff, everyone. How beautiful. Okay, let's do a little bit more movement and then we'll finish off the scan at the end to see how we're doing. So we've got enough time. So when you're ready, come to standing up. And we're just going to have a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to do some of the Makaho stretches, which we have done before. So I just want you to shake out the different parts of your body. Don't forget the face if you can. Try not to throw your glasses off your face if you have them. Got lovely and into that lovely deep yin quality. And now just helping some of that energy come back out. Okay. So there's a couple of different ways of doing this first Makaho stretch, and we're going to be doing the heart and small intestine to begin with, and I will explain why afterwards. See if it all helps that lung metal quality, lung large intestine metal quality. So you can do this standing up, like I've said before, and you bring your hands into prayer position in front of your heart. You keep your elbows high, and you tip the whole of your spine. You don't just bend, you tip the whole of the spine forwards, but you try to keep the elbows and hands like up, like this. So it's almost like it comes to your brow from your heart. It's like your hands are pretty much staying where they are. And there's a sense of honoring, a gesturing, an offering, a recognizing. Now this can also be done sitting down. And if you're going to do it sitting down, which I really love sitting down to do this, you can put a cushion under your bum to help if you need to help lift your bottom up. If you can reach down, hold your feet as close as you can get them to you, even if they're out here, that's fine. If you can reach your toes, then I encourage you to press your little fingers out together. So I'll show you sideways what that looks like. You hold your feet, you press your little fingers out together like that. Okay. Now, if you can't reach your toes, you can hold your ankles, or you can do the same in terms of having prayer position with the hands in front of you. So just finding a moment to settle. I'm going to go with hands on my toes with the little fingers out. But the same thing, elbows up, shoulders relaxed. Allow your alignment to be nice and raised. That's the crown lifting up towards the heavens, the spine hanging down towards the ground. Soft in the hips, soft in the shoulders. Take a nice breath in. And whether you're like this or like this, allow yourself to sink forwards with the whole of the alignment. Elbows still raised high. And allow yourself to be gently bowing in honor of something or someone, but not to glorify them, but more to just offer respect and honor, offer some heartfelt recognition of the spirit within them. Breathing in again, and breathing out. Just noticing if you sink any lower. It's okay if you don't. With the shoulders relaxed and the elbows raised, do you feel the stretch underneath the lower edge of the arm if your hands are up in prayer position? the same thing. Breathing in again. The recognition of spirit in other, whether that's a person, a place, a quality, or the whole of existence. Breathing in again, last time. Breathing out, let the arms relax, let the body roll back up. If you've been sitting, let your legs stretch out. If you've been standing, give yourself a bit of a shake off. It's a nice quality, the heart stretch, the heart macaho. Always very kind of reflective and delicate and beautiful. I'll explain why we've done this one in a minute. The next one we're going to do is the earth one, which is the stomach and spleen. So this does require coming down, and if you can, kneeling on the ground. Now, if you can't kneel on the ground, then I would encourage either to be doing it as a lunge, where you just start to drop a knee. So this leg is straight down, and then this leg you drop a knee, and you're tipping your tailbone forwards. And you're feeling the stretch here. If that can't be done, then you can always work in to the fronts of the hips and then the fronts of the thighs. You can tap it. So you have to work out what is most appropriate for you. This is my preferred one. Now, some people are like, well, as far as you can go, if you're flexible enough to just lie on the floor and drop back, go for it. But I don't necessarily feel that that is the most appropriate, because there's a way of doing it where you don't have to crush the body up. So with the toes up or with the toes down, it's up to you. Bring the hands back to the ground if you can. And if you can't, then you can get something like, oh, hang on, a chair. And you bring your feet under like this. So you can bring your hands back like this, if this is as far as you can get. If not, bring your hands behind you. Okay, we're not going to drop the head back. We want our necks to be nice and secure. Look down the front of your body. Tuck the tailbone under, as if you are pointing your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Breathing in. Push through the hands and the feet into the ground. There's almost a using the muscles in the body. Breathing in. And breathing out. Relax the back. Tuck the tailbone under. Push hands and feet into the ground. Looking down the front of the body. And if you're doing the lunge version, then looking straight forwards, tucking the tailbone under, and just sinking a little bit. Okay, and then coming back down, walking the hands back up. A bit of tappy, 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 tappy. Okay, what time have we got to? Ooh, okay, just got a couple of minutes left to do the lung, large intestine. The reason why I've done those two first is that in the 5 elements picture, the earth gives rise to the metal element. So we've done the earth, and the metal element, if it gets too out of control, gets controlled by the fire element, which is the heart, small intestine. The fire is said to soften the metal, you see. Okay, so we're going to do this one where we hold our thumbs behind us and we extend our index fingers, stretch them nice and far behind you, take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, we're just going to drop from the hips. Just to a relaxed level, whatever's relaxed for you. And we're just going to carry on pointing our fingers, take a nice breath in. Last one. As you breathe out, let the hands come to the tailbone, let the knees bend, and roll back up. Okay. Well, no doubt I've gone just over an hour, but thank you very much for joining us. If you have a moment, just appreciate a sense of this lovely circle again that we've all been in. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful for you all to be here again. I hope you have a lovely week, and we'll see you for another Wednesday class next time. We're doing the metal element because these are leading up to, we're going to have a metal review next time. And then the weekend of October the 14th and 15th is our Shiatsu College weekend. And if anyone who has done an introductory day would like to come along, get in touch with us. I think we've sent out an email to you, or we will be soon. And it would be lovely to have any of you to come along. Thank you very much for everyone. I'm going to put a little heart in and then I'm going to head off. Have a great day. Lots of love. Goodbye.